Welcome this evening to Ladies Leading Ladies. And tonight we're very honored to have two wonderful Nikken stars. Our topic tonight is how do couples do Nikken? And Pam and Ron Barnes are great examples of how two people can learn to work together. Let me tell you a little about them. Pam Barnes is a registered dental hygienist specializing in periodontal therapy with 45 years of dental expertise. She was introduced to Nikken in 1997 as a possible solution to her wrist and health challenges. The business of Nikken was simple, to just show and tell to her friends and family. She quickly turned her oral care education to be total care education. In 6 months, she moved quickly up the ranks, won awards, and the Watanabe leadership team. 10 years later, she met Ron at a dance class. Ron became Pam's last silver needed to become platinum, and he eventually won her heart. Ron is a CPA and financial specialist with over 40 years in public accounting and managing partner of his firm for over 20 of those years. During his career, he's provided financial and tax consultation to hundreds of clients, individuals, small businesses, and larger businesses. He is also a retired Army colonel, having served 32 years, with the majority of that time with the Army Reserves. Commissioned as an infantry officer at Fort Benning, Georgia, Ron has held several command positions and qualified in multiple branches. He received a congressional appointment as an Army Reserve Ambassador, a 2-star general protocol position, and has served in that capacity for 9 years. Together, Pam and Ron have been married for 13 years, and between them have 5 grandchildren, 2 cats, and a dog, and live on a small farm near Louisville, Kentucky. So, Pam and Ron, how did you figure out how to do the Nikken business together?
You want me to go first?
Yep, I do.
Well, it was really, of course, I started, as you pointed out, as a silver and worked into that. But it was really just looking at each other's strengths, and recognizing what each of us brought to the table.
Mhm.
So that's really what did it. It's not kind of obvious with the finance part and Pam with the medical part. So for us, it made a great fit.
Yeah, it sure did. And I'm the one that am on the healthy highway part of it. And he takes the other side of it, which blends really, really well. Thanks to Humans Being More and many life cycle plans, I actually had a picture very similar to what he looks like on a plan. But, and that's where your focus. I wanted somebody that wanted to do Nikken with me. And he came in, I didn't know. My son even said, I might not want to mention it too early in a relationship, Mom. And I said, well, you know what? That's a part of me. So they're going to have to, be a part of that too. But Ron is fifth degree black belt in Taekwondo. So he understood the energy part of it. But in our relationship and in our business, because that's what we want to talk about, I do the information part, send the Zoom link, send the documents, anything like that to the client, because that's not his strength. Okay. But that is something that I enjoy, and that I probably take it a little too far as to all the documents in my computer, but, that doesn't necessarily advance you faster. If I had known back in 97, when I found out about Nikken, what Nikken really was going to be, I would have addressed it totally different. And Ron's helped me see that side of it.
Well, with Nikken is it's a business, right? We're entrepreneurs. And as entrepreneurs, you have to look at the business side. And it's absolutely great that we have these kind of products to share with people to help improve the quality of their life. But for somebody to look at their business, it's important to remember that it is a business. And so I tend to, gravitate to that side. But it's important to have the balance, right? It takes, if you kind of think about it, if Pam and I are in a rowboat, and if one of us is rowing really hard and the other one's not, we're just we're not going anywhere. And so it's important for both of us to row together and to work together. And so I think if for us, it's been great to look at each other's strengths and to play to that.
Mhm.
Have I learned a lot about the products and the presentations and all these other? Absolutely. But Pam is better at that.
Yeah.
And the numbers part is not her favorite thing. For me, it's not a big deal to do that. And so I kind of get in that part and analyze, and maybe I analyze too much. I don't know. But my point is that it's really looking at complementing each other. And I think for any couple, Mary, it's good just to kind of think about it. Everybody brings strengths to the table. And if you just kind of take advantage of that and work together, and you can share, you can really build on that. And the multiplier effect is pretty terrific. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. By being able to work together like that, it really becomes a multiplication, and there's a synergy that we have.
So while I'm typing away and sending things, I'm looking at a board, and I know you don't see our office, but a board over here with one set of numbers and a board over here with another set of numbers, and my eyes kind of go cross-eyed, but he keeps me posted. He checks all the time, on our Miney Ken account. He'll also do things from background, because I do have the relationship with most of our clients, or definitely more of the customers, but the downline, he knows them. But the background goes to me, because some of them have been with me for the entire 22 years, which has been fabulous. And so we have to do that. The one thing that I'm going to say, and as I made notes, love and respect. Okay. You have to respect each other. No way around it. If he were to say something that was not quite right, I have to learn. And as you all know me, it's hard. I kind of interject. I have to zip it. Okay. And not say anything. If he mentions something, I'll probably take note up here. And when we get in the car or we get off the call, I'll say, I saw this a little bit differently, and we talk about that. He understands the feelings, and I understand where he was coming from. And so he's just great. We read each other well. We're both Scorpios, so I really didn't know if the relationship would ever work. And but it does really well. And we have to respect the fact that we're both fairly strong people.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So and we do that.
And you mentioned earlier when we talked about information for your introduction that you have contacts and friends and family, and he has contacts and friends and family. So how do you work the mixture of those sets of contacts? Do you ABC?
Mhm.
We kind of become our own ABC, if you will, because maybe for me, particularly when I was going to the office on a real frequent basis, maybe it was somebody that I knew could really benefit from it, and I'd mention it, and I'd say the person you to talk to is Pam. So I would connect them, right, and focus on that part of it. So for me, it was recognizing that I needed to take advantage of where she was coming from. And as we've gone on, certainly, and I've, learned more and more and more of that. I can do a lot of that, but it's been helpful where we can basically become our own ABC. We're taking advantage of what the other one brings to the table. And there's times when Pam will meet somebody and they're really interested in the business aspect of it. And so then maybe the reverse happens, right? So then I'm the one that's maybe walking through some fundamentals for the comp plan so they can get the basic idea. And how do you build a business, and talk to them about doing some things of getting a daily routine and a method of operation and so on and so forth. So, we're just, again, we're playing off each other's strengths. And so it's, a lot of people that I know are going to be business. That's where I've got to know them. Right. But even if I'm playing golf or whatever, I'm still in. And so now you'd be surprised, but a lot of people I play golf with have knee wraps, wristbands, sport necklaces. It's kind of funny how that's worked. So it's It's all good.
And I will say, because you kind of ask us how we learned, it was trial and error. You got to get out there and just do it. I mean, we know that when you're an individual. I was an individual doing Nikken for, a number of years. We've been together 15. But I will say that I limited my belief. Like when he would refer me a client, I was very cautious about not talking business. And I let him bring that in because these are people that come to him for tax advice. And I didn't want, my mind said, but I never really talked to him about it. But my mind said, don't go there because they might get upset with Ron or what you said. And I shouldn't have done that. I limited myself again by thinking that way. And they brought products, but we also had to realize that the relationship was with him, not with me. I was a new kid on the block. Okay. I was from across the river and, so, it made a difference. And I would say, Ron, I've tried, I can't do it. I've done 2, maybe 3 different things and I'm not getting a response. So I pass them back to him and say, you can take it from here and see what you can do. And he understood that. And then he decided to step up to the plate more, and
Yeah, she called me out on it, so I had to. No, that was a little humor. Yeah, but there's things that when you look at it, there's just certain people that maybe it makes more sense that I can connect with them, and there's others that Pam needs to really connect with them, and so it's just learning that and recognizing that, and just because it's somebody that I know, maybe Pam's really the one that needs to be working with them, or reverse. So it's not like, oh, I should have been the one. No, it's a team, and so
there's no competition.
Yeah, it's just working together to make, and we're and that's really how you help. Whether it's customers or downline, right? Is working together and giving them as much information as you can.
Yeah. One thing we do, and I'm sorry, I want you to answer the question, Mary, is that we do read the same books. Okay. I really had not read the business side of the books before I met him. Okay. And I find that I really like them. And I should have read them sooner. Okay. Going into the science and medical field, even in high school, no one guided me towards business because they had their straight focus that I was going to be medicine. So, and so we do that. We have to order, and I will tell you, you and your partner are doing this, order 2 books. I love to underline, write on the side, make notes, tell so-and-so, turn the page down. And I think to him, that's kind of defacing the book.
Yeah, I just have a different approach, but it's important though. But even if I'm reading a book, there's things that I see that strike me. There's things that Pam sees that strikes her. And what's great is if we're both reading that book, I might say, did you see or read on page blah, blah, blah? And I've highlighted it. And then when she looks at it, she said, no, I didn't even mark that down. So every other line she has highlighted, but the one I thought it was important, she thought not. So I'm kidding. The point is that we see different things, and that's a good thing. Because everybody's that way. It's not just Pam and I. Any couple, when you look at it, you just see different things. You can look at the same issue, same book, but different aspects can jump out at you.
The one time that I had a book and finished it while we were on a beach vacation. He said, I want to read it. And I said, well, let me tell you, it's okay. You get a different color pen and you can underline and make any notes you want. Well, we had to laugh because when we got back home, because he read it on the plane, the entire book was underlined.
It was crazy. we did underline a fair amount. That's true.
That's
the key there. The key thing to take away is this continuing education, and we're always learning. And there's a lot of great tidbits have come up on the Ladies Leading Ladies programs and a lot of good stuff. And so Pam might be on, but I'm sitting across the room and I'm listening. And so I may not be visible on the screen, but my ears are there, and I'm making notes. I thought that was a great point.
Yep. Yeah. So you've mentioned you're both Scorpios and you have some differences. Now, when you're both presenting together, either in home or on a Zoom or in person with a group, how have you learned to bring your personality styles together to have a unified presentation? Or how do you find the strengths? What do you do?
Well, it's kind of our
I guess
styles different, right? And so Pam, her style on wanting to present is more structured than mine, and she wants to have everything all. For me, I just want to have the bullet points and let me talk. So that's just different. But I don't think one's right and one's wrong. It's just what is most comfortable, and it's recognizing too that if we're presenting maybe a particular aspect or topic of that, Pam's absolutely the better one to talk about that. You know, she's got more experience and she should share.
Questions.
And well, or it could be just in years of working with NECAN and all that stuff. You know, for me, maybe it's a different question. Maybe somebody's talking about, well, how do I hate to keep harping on the business part, but you know, maybe it's something like that. My point is that it's just, we know that there's different components of that we need to be sharing, and the style can be different, but we still get there.
Yeah, we found out early on that I would be telling some stories, and so as I'm, telling some stories, and I'll say Ron, who thought he had no need at all for NECAN products. Okay, he thought everything that was happening to him was just part of growing older. Okay, and so I'll start to tell his story, and then he'll say, "Now wait a minute, let me tell my own story."
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So that worked. Everybody would laugh. And then that was a great segue for him to take the floor. And then he could not only go into his story, but he could go into what, he had seen in NECAN and that. So, you find out what gets a response. That's why it's so good to be in front of people. And you repeat the good things, and you talk about that. What did we do good in the presentation? Because the thing about NECAN, we can be honest, but what do we do good and what maybe we should have left out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So you do it and you learn, and never override the other one. That's the other thing. I have a hard time talking, and I started this years ago. I just take my hand and put it underneath my thigh. And as long as my hand's underneath my thigh and I'm sitting on it, I don't say a word. Okay. And I can speak only when he truly stops, and I'll take my hand down because I talk with my hands a lot. Body language, we watch body language. I mean, we're not like playing poker where, you got to fudge on stuff, because we don't need to with NECAN. But if I'm sharing with somebody, I tend to lean forward. Okay, that's a positive thing I just do. When I clean teeth, I'm leaning over the patient, right? So it's just a natural position for me to go forward. And so I'll be leaning forward. And then he soon figured out that when I decided, and I sat back in the chair, he needed to take the floor, because I, felt like we really were not accomplishing, or I wasn't saying the right words that were hitting their hot button. So, we don't kick each other under the table or anything like that, but
there's times when, depending upon the audience, or depending upon the topic, one of us will have more of a lead in it than the other one. So, just you just need to recognize that and know that. So it's all good.
Yeah. Respect, that whole thing of respecting each other.
Mm-hmm. Has your career background, you mentioned leaning forward, you mentioned some other thing. Have you found that your career backgrounds influence how you work together and how you present, or other aspects of your business?
I think absolutely our career background. I'd say that's probably true for everybody because we all get influenced and shaped by those things. But a lot of things that I did as managing partner, for example, or in a command position with the military, you have to learn how to delegate. It doesn't mean you ignore it, but you have to delegate. And so I kind of have that, okay, you need to take care of this, or you got that. And then I'm moving on to something else. Well, that was something I guess sometimes I would say that in a manner that I didn't really, it wasn't an order. It was a suggestion that we share. And so, just in our discussion, that's how I got a little feedback that hey, maybe I need to be a little more sensitive about how I say it. So yeah, I'd say it affects how we do what we do.
And as a hygienist, I know the number one people will say for most hygienists anyway, well, she puts her hands in my mouth and she asks me all these questions. And how can I answer when she's got her hands in my mouth? Well, I tell you what, there's some great conversations that go on when you get your teeth cleaned. Probably you all have experienced a hygienist that you've really liked. And so asking questions is just part of me because that's just how you related to your patient. And watching the body language, if they're clenching the arms of the chair or they're scrubbing their hands or, anything like that, I'm very aware of that. I think Ron had the different part. He might have had that in the CPA office. They might have rubbed their hands together and clenched the chair. Yeah. But it's worked well. I had only hoped more so than he did to ask questions about business. I was amazed when all the books that he had, that we have a library right here of a lot of the ones that people mention, not the newer ones, but because he had read them and that's how he was successful in his careers, was doing that part.
So to wrap up this part, before we go to any questions and answers, it sounds like mutual respect, honesty, and really working together, communication, talking things through has really been the cornerstone of your working together. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Well, the summary items, if you wanted me to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Always begin the conversation by edifying each other. Something that you saw that you liked, or what they said, or how they said it, not fake, being honest. Okay. And the strengths that you see, Ron saw strengths in me that I really didn't think that I had. And I saw strengths in him. I mean, you put him in a uniform and his whole demeanor just totally, it doesn't change. It's not for the bad, but you can just see, how it is. And I love that, I love when he can put on that uniform. So, and tell them what you admire in them, and then compliment each other without saying the word but. Or however, or maybe just compliment them, and that is it. That is the end, because it shows respect that you have. There'll be a time that maybe you could bring up something you want to bring up, but that's not the time.
Right. And I guess I might just throw in there that, I think it's important for a couple to play to each other's strengths. When you're in business, there's already a lot of stuff going on. I mean, a lot to do. And rather than trying to make somebody just keep hammering on their weakness and keep pounding that's not a lot of fun. But if they really enjoy doing some component, they really enjoy talking to people. Maybe that's this paperwork drives them crazy, but they love talking to people. Well, okay. Then as a couple, maybe a good balance would be let that person talk and okay, you go talk, I'll keep score. But that's a balance. So play to each other's strengths and focus on that. And the other one is, support each other, support your partner. And you really be a cheerleader because we're partners. And so this is a deal of, Pam does great, we win. I do great, we win. So, this isn't oh, she did great. Oh, darn it, I should have done. It's together. And, I recognize that a lot in my firm, when you're out with my partners. It was great. If my partners were excelling, that means the firm's doing great. And guess what? I was making more money too. And that was a good thing. And so, we're partners. And so recognize this is a business and we're partners. And so, Pam's right. It's got to be mutual respect. You got to work together. But, in one of the humans being more, when Jeff would do that, and Karen Enzyme brings us a lot up on their calls, working together, light as a feather. And so recognize that working together and focusing on that, that's just a great plus, I think. So that'd be my two things.
Celebrate the wins, celebrate the little wins. You got somebody to call you back. That's a win. Okay. You made Club Kai. That is a win, a win. So do take that time, and we tend to get caught up in the busyness of everything and then we'll get ready for bed. And I said, you know what? We need to celebrate this today. So,
sometimes it's one last thing, it's really good that when you have a partner, some days are not as great as other days. And if you're in business, that's just the way it is. It's great if you have somebody that can point out the positive thing of, hey, okay, yeah, but this was really good. Or it's a positive,
Yes.
not a negative, but. And so, my point is that it's good to be able just to bring that in. So anyway.
Right. Well, I think we'll leave that on the positive buts.
Yeah, I like it.
We'll stop there. And we'll open it. Thank you both for sharing
Sure.
some of your tricks of the trade, but I think we'll open it for questions. And the first one